I'm very excited about this next topic. I just think it's totally overlooked, or underrated, rather. So I have experienced this almost every day of my life. Something shifted, something changed. Maybe it was around the time I started reframing things in my life, as we talked about in the previous videos. And that is the topic of synchronicity. I have lived it almost every day of my life since then. I don't remember the exact time it started happening to me, but it's become so normal that I'm like, this is my life now. But I do acknowledge when it happens. It still blows my mind every time. But I just kind of accumulated this topic as an expansion of evolution in the expansion of the consciousness and your psychic abilities heightening and things like that. So I'm going to dive into it a little bit more. For me personally, I started really noticing it whenever I would hop onto Gaia, which is the consciousness media. And it just seemed like every time I was on there, I had just divine timing with whatever I ended up picking for the day. It was almost bizarrely accurate. And I don't know if I think part of it was me following my intuition with what message I needed to hear for that day. But sometimes it was literally like, I'm just going to continue watching a series that I was on, but the next episode was exactly aligned with what I needed to hear, or what I was going through in my life, or what I was thinking about. So I just, acknowledge it when it happens. And so I want to dive into this a little bit more. The concept of synchronicity was originally introduced by Carl Jung, who described it as a meaningful coincidence. Totally spot on. Not just random events happening at the same time, but moments that feel symbolically aligned with your inner world. It's when something external mirrors something internal, and it feels intentional, even if it can't be logically explained. So I love that. It's so cool. When you talk about divine timing, you're also speaking about trust. So this trust includes delays are not denials, detours are not mistakes, challenges are initiations. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the reframing, right? Trusting that something is going to be in your favor. All right. So, and here's a little deeper layer here for synchronicity. I wonder if it isn't about the universe arranging events. I wonder if it's about you becoming the version of yourself who can finally see and receive what was always there. That one got me. Because when you trust divine timing, you release control, you stay open, you notice patterns, you act when aligned, you wait when it doesn't feel right. So it's this participatory type of reflection. It's not passive. You still make choices, you still take steps, but you move with an inner knowing instead of fear. Let that one sink in a little. So, in your reflection about challenges being necessary steps, that's integration, that's wisdom, that's growth consciousness. You're recognizing that. So, whatever breakdown built strength, whatever confusion clarified values, right? And whatever pain you're going through just refined purpose. A little reframing again, right? Synchronicity often becomes more visible after we've done the inner work. When we're aligned internally, life appears to align externally. Not because everything becomes easy, but because we're interpreting it through meaning instead of resistance. Love that one too. Trusting that the universe knows is also a way of saying, I trust myself. I trust my path. I trust that even this is part of it. And that kind of trust changes how you walk through the world. So it's so crazy. Okay, let's dive into it a little deeper. So, the spiritual perspective of divine timing. Across all spiritual traditions, there is a shared idea. Life unfolds in alignment with a larger intelligence. In Christianity, it's framed as God's timing. In Taoism, it's aligned with the Tao. In Hermetic philosophy, it's correspondence, as above, so below. Even thinkers like Carl Jung, that I mentioned before, suggested that the psyche is not separate from the unfolding of events, that inner and outer realities mirror one another. From a spiritual lens, divine timing is not about events being controlled like chess pieces. It's about resonance. You don't receive what you want, you receive what you're ready to sustain. There are seasons of preparation, initiation, expansion, integration, rest. Challenges are often initiations, right? They stretch identity. They refine discernment. They dissolve illusions. That's a big one happening right now. And only after that refinement does the next alignment appear. Spiritually, synchronicity increases when you're in integrity with yourself, you're listening inwardly, you're acting from intuition instead of fear. It's less about waiting for signs and more about becoming aligned enough to recognize them. Right? So when you align with who you truly are, you start recognizing the opportunities that were always available to you. Every experience has the potential to shape you into the person who can step into what's next. And for me, I take a little bit of numerology into this synchronicity. So my numbers that I have seen since I was, I don't know, I think it was about 18, I started seeing 333. It's not just me. There's a whole community out there that also see these synchronistic numbers in life. So through this lens of synchronicity, the numerology 3 is associated with creativity, expression, growth, communication, and expansion. And when a number repeats, like 333, it's often interpreted as amplification. And many spiritual traditions interpret 333 as alignment with higher guidance, support from spiritual forces, a reminder that you're on the right path, right? Synchronicity, expansion into your purpose. Some modern spiritual teachers, like I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, Doreen Virtue, popularized the idea of angel numbers, where repeating numbers are messages meant to reassure or guide. So beautiful. So from this perspective, seeing 333 repeatedly, especially during a transitional time, could symbolize something like you are growing. Keep going. You're supported. That's, even without knowing any of this or researching it, that's how I took it. But that was also me tapping into my intuition. The number isn't magic by itself. It becomes meaningful through resonance. And because the brain is wired for pattern recognition, there's something called frequency illusion, sometimes called, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Once something catches your attention, your brain starts noticing it everywhere. So if 333 stood out to me, maybe during a pivotal moment in my life, my brain tagged it as important. And so then after that, my awareness increased. So it's not really that 333 suddenly appeared more, it's just that I became tuned to it. But I don't think my brain highlighted that randomly. It highlighted what felt emotionally relevant. So for me, seeing it all the time felt really odd. But I just took it as, a significance, just to reassure myself, feel supported. And you know what? That emotional state does matter. Because when you believe you're supported, you take braver action, you worry less, you trust your decisions more, you interpret setbacks as temporary. So even if 333 was simply my brain filtering for a pattern, the meaning I attached to it shaped my behavior, and that shaped my outcomes. That's powerful. So, yeah, it's all about growth mindset for me and trusting in divine timing. And yeah, and when I look at it through a spiritual lens, there is a lot of significance there too, especially like, if I was ever questioning the existence of God, 333 could have felt symbolic, during that time, which it has in my, last, I don't know, 15 years of my life. And that has helped build a bridge between my doubt and faith. It has helped me have a reminder of that spiritual presence in my life. So yeah, pretty cool, huh? But anyways, that's about all I wanted to say today with it, and I hope you got something juicy in there for you. Yeah, we're going through crazy times, but this is a fun topic, and I really wanted to expand on it. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care of yourselves, and thanks always for listening in.